Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. So today I'm just going to be showing you how to get some new joysticks installed on your PS4 controller board. So if you haven't watched the previous video, I would suggest you do so, because in that video, as you can see, we've cleared up all these holes for the joysticks, right? So it will be mildly easier if you watch that video. It also shows you how to take off all the joysticks as well in depth, got some soldering tips and whatnot. So after watching that video, you'll need a few things. Your board, of course. You'll need some joysticks. You'll also need some solder wire. As you can see, mine's lead free. You'll also need some flux. This can be liquid flux, solid flux, whatever type of flux you guys like. And some IPA or some cleaner, just to clean off the board. So let me just put this board to the side, and as you guys can see, so we have two joysticks, okay, for our controller. So first thing you guys want to do is make sure you actually have two of these. Make sure they're compatible with your board, and also make sure the pins are all straight. So if we just inspect this, look around, all these pins are straight. Now you just inspect this, look around, all the pins are straight. I will just quickly show you. So I just bent a pin. So let me just help you guys out. So by all the pins being straight, I mean, for example, you see these three pins here, they're all straight. But that one right there, as you can see, is not very straight. And if you find a pin like this, all you need to do is just, you can get your finger or some tweezers, and you just bend it back in place slowly. I'm just gonna bend it slowly back into place, and it should be straight enough. Now what we're gonna do now is you're gonna get your board, see the pin outs here, and you're gonna line them up. So in my case, these are the pin outs. So let me just hit the zoom off, and we're just gonna line these pins, okay? So let me just hold the board with this hand. So I'm going to just simply line them all up and wiggle them around. Flip the board and see what pins don't go through. So for example, let me just zoom in for you guys. So for example, you see a few of the pins are unable to go through, which is fine, it's perfectly normal, that happens. You can rather bend these pins, you can desolder a bit more. So for example, this pin right here needs desoldering, while all these other ones can just fit right through, I'm pretty sure. All of these other ones just look like they can fit right through, but this one right here just needs a bit of desoldering. So what you're going to do, grab a copper wick, some flux, or a solder pump. You're going to put some flux on here. You're going to get a bit of copper braid, and you're just going to cut a very small piece off, depending on how much you need to desolder. You're going to cut a very small piece off. You need your soldering iron, make sure it's clean, the tip. And you're just going to get this copper wick, and you're just going to kind of touch it to the joint and just wait. There's a good amount of smoke coming through. Now, sometimes this may not work. If it doesn't work, don't worry. There is another way, which I did show in my previous video, where you get something like helping hands, for example, to balance the board. For example, you're going to locate the pin that you want to desolder. So, for example, it's this pin right there. Okay. Now, sorry if you can't see very clearly, but I'm just going to need to... Honestly, I can even just do this off video, because I've shown you in a previous rendition. But literally, you're just going to get your soldering iron, push it through the joint, and then suck the solder from the other way. And that should desolder the hole enough for you to just suck the solder out. And yeah, that simple. So just again do this with each hole, and after you desolder everything, you're gonna unlatch. You're gonna see if these joysticks will fit in your board now. So we're gonna go ahead, push them, and as you can see, not quite yet. So we have hole here, hole here. So again, you're gonna go ahead, put the board on, and you're gonna desolder again. Okay. No, I would recommend that while your board is on helping hands like this, let me just rotate them down. You see if the pins will fit out, like, you know, if everything will fit inside here. So again, I'm gonna just go ahead and align everything up, and just don't be scared to squeeze a little bit. Looks like the majority of them are coming through. There's just a few stubborn ones here, but as you can see, the majority of these, let me just get some zoom in. Zoom in. As you can see, the majority of them are coming through. A few of them up there. The rest of them, pretty nice. So you just want to kind of like, just wiggle it around, push it through until it lays flush on the board. So it should be like this. As you can see, there's no gap, or almost no gap, between the pins and the board. Right there. And all the pins have been pushed through, right? So, as I said in my last video, we're just going to go ahead and we're going to just do this. I mean, obviously I'd recommend you just do this for both sides first. So just push your joystick through the hole, essentially. So you're going to go ahead and you're going to line up all the pins, wiggle it, and just push through. Don't push too hard, you don't want to break anything, and yeah, it's all there. Alright, so now I'm just going to put this cloth to the side. Sorry about my workspace again, but whenever you're dealing with this stuff, you don't really want to be using flammable things. Essentially, you don't want anything flammable underneath your workspace. So we're going to go ahead and just clip the board on something if needed. So I'm just going to do this for sure, just so it's easier and the board doesn't go around everywhere. Start by, let me zoom into just one side for you. So you're going to start by putting some flux on. And you put, at the very least, a decent amount on where you want to put everything. And then you're going to clean the tip of your soldering iron, as you can see, silver. And you're going to get a bit of solder wire. And you're just going to melt a bit on the tip. Okay. Now you're going to touch it. I'm just going to feed it. Hold a little bit and then off. Make sure it makes a good connection, or else you may need to redo this step a few times even. So I'm just going to break off a bit of solder wire and just continue with this process. So I'm going to add a bit more here. Now they can be like fucking stupidly huge. Just try not to put too little. Right, so as you can see, that's a very weird solder gap, but I mean, it works. to, like, for example, when you get to a very close portion where you don't want to burn your fingertips, just get a tweezer with the extra solder wire in, and you just feed it like so. Now, when doing this, make sure none of these none of the connections join together. Just want to go over each one, essentially. Better to have too much than too little. And you're gonna just clean off the whole board after you're finished with everything, right? So now the best ones that I recommend soldering are either the potential, these 3 pins. And also make sure it's link flush, but the 3 pins or the 1 big pin. So we need a bit more solder wire. Let's work your way around. Very it's not too in there, but it will still do. As you can see, it's not all the way in there, but you can still make a connection between them. It's not the end of the world. You'll still be able to make a nice connection. And then last joint, now obviously is not the cleanest joints, so do excuse my soldering skills, but I've added a good amount of soldering, so just stuck to one side. Sometimes the joints may bridge, just try and keep them in their own lanes, I guess, like so. And yeah, so now I'm gonna alcoholize the board. Yep, so now we're just gonna get some alcohol on. I'm just gonna scrub out here. If you don't have a toothbrush, a cotton bud will do. And this is all perfectly safe for the board. Okay, now this is it, you're done. So just reassemble your controller, put it all back together, and yeah. So thank you for watching, guys. If you liked the video, like, subscribe, whatever. You don't need to, but yeah, greatly appreciated. Have a good day. Peace.